Hello and welcome. Quipster Puck here with another terrifying tale. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you could see people for who they really were? To see whether they were good or bad, just by looking at them? Well, you're in luck. Tonight's story is about a young man who could do just that. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Let's find out.
I was 5 when I realized I was different. I was sitting on the couch with my parents as they watched the news, observing their increasing agitation as the people on screen argued as they discussed politics. It was during a special news alert that I saw the first. Some pathological killer had just been discovered after one of his almost victims escaped. She described his fun house through tears to the first person she ran into, and the police had quickly been alerted to his presence. He had died in a shootout with the responding officers, laughing hysterically up until he died. Suddenly, a picture of him flashed onto the screen. He was standing with his wife and 2 young daughters. The 3 were smiling at the camera, completely unaware of the horrible monster whose arms were wrapped around them. Its face was blackened and charred, skin hanging off of its bones. The eyes were yellow and black, as if they had rotted inside of its head, and its mouth was twisted into a grimace of a smile, with jagged, obtrusive teeth showing through his dead lips. I screamed at the sight and began to weep. My parents were confused, asking if I was okay. I asked what was wrong with the man's face. They looked at each other, confused, and realized I was talking about the killer. They thought I was scared of the man and what he had done, and told me not to worry, that he had been killed by the police. Worry spread across their faces when I didn't calm down and began to describe his face, his rotting flesh. I noted that the cop who had shot the man bore no similar hideousness. I would later realize it was because he had not killed out of malice or hate. He was a good man. As I grew older, my father lost his job and began to drink heavily. He sat at home, moping and drinking, and his sadness soon turned to anger. His features grew more distorted over time, and one night, I noticed a patch of rotting flesh appear on his arm. More of these began to appear when he started to beat my mother. I noticed that everyone had some patch of rotting flesh from some dark side of themselves that very few were aware of. Except me. I could see them all. I was 17 when I first met her. Everyone I saw had some disfigurement, some flaw, but she was perfect. She was new to our school, and I talked to her as soon as I got the chance. We started to hang out more and more, preferring to stay at her house rather than deal with my parents. After a week or so, I took her to the local circus. She wanted to go into the House of Mirrors, and I followed. As we walked, I stared at her perfect reflection, repeated 1,000 times over. I took the knife from my belt, as I had done so many times before, and plunged it into her neck. "You're perfect," I murmured as she squirmed at my feet. "I despise perfection." I stared into the mirror at my bubbling, blackened skin, and my red and yellow eyes as a smile spread across my charred remains.
Well, that was a killer date now, wasn't it? I guess we all have a little bit of evil inside us, now don't we? Can you imagine growing up, seeing evil everywhere that you look? It's bound to have some effects on you. Well, that's all for the night. Have a good night. Ta-ta.